All right, Buddy Buck here with Duvall TV and our new segment, Community Connect. And we are here with the one and only Mr. Bill Foreman. Bill is the president of the Duvall Chamber of Commerce as of 2026. So congrats, Bill, on that. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, let's get this kicked off. So this is the first ever episode of Community Connect. So congrats, Bill. This is our first time doing this interview with this new show. And just to kind of give people an idea what this is, I'm going to be doing interviews for business owners, community members, nonprofits, and also students. So really just anybody in Duvall, we want to connect. We want to hear your stories. We want to have some conversations, and then we'll put out some social media content afterwards from the interview. So basically a podcast style like we're going to do today, Bill, and then we'll pull up some, clips and segments from the interview and we'll put those out on social media as well so people can really get to know their neighbors. So with that, we're going to come right off the top, Bill. I got a very serious question for you. You ready?
I'm ready. Lay it on me.
Okay. What is your favorite smell?
My favorite smell, I would think, I like the smell of hickory. Yeah,
Hickory. Okay.
hickory, like, especially something coming off of a barbecue grill or something like that.
Okay. No, now
But
here's the
wood,
million
raw wood.
dollar.
So
Huh?
yeah,
What's that?
raw wood as well. Like I like woodworking and that sort of thing. So sawdust, and I dig that. Yeah.
That's really cool. It's funny because my niece, I remember you just triggered a memory already. My niece's favorite smell is bark. So we always got a kick out of that. We're like, okay, you're super weird, but that's awesome. So is there something from like your childhood or like a core memory growing up? Like why those smells, why did those jump out to you when I asked you? Because you knew exactly what you liked.
I think, I did a little bit of woodworking when I was a child, and I enjoyed that. My first project was building my own waterbed. Now that kind of dates me because nobody does waterbeds anymore. But but
I know
yeah, no, I
waterbeds.
think that I guess there could be some childhood memories there that kind of spurs that. But I also like cooking, barbecuing, that sort of thing. So yeah,
Very cool. Yeah. And you might be at a food establishment right now. Yes?
I am. I'm at Corey's
Yeah.
Cafe. Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
be the best breakfast place in Duvall.
One of our favorites, man. We love Corey, love Corey's Cafe for sure. All right. So we just had the new chamber board get elected, right? So I'm a chamber member. Again, you're the pres this year, Bill. So, kind of tell us a little bit about like why you wanted to run for president and take such a big role on. And congrats on getting voted in. You guys just had your retreat here just in the last couple of weeks.
hmm
So what's on the horizon? And tell us a little bit about your experience with the chamber so far.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for the welcome. And no, I'm excited. The reason that I joined and ran for the office of the presidency is I felt like I could make a difference for Duvall. I think it's important that we attract not only local people to attend our businesses, but also people outside of the immediate community. I think that we can do some things to attract folks from Carnation, Woodinville, and Monroe, and some of the surrounding areas, and maybe even beyond. We could leverage magazines like 425 and some of the social media stuff, some of the things that you do, and I think to really make a difference. And essentially, make Duvall a destination spot for families and for shopping and good food and that sort of thing. And so I think that the chamber in the past has done an amazing job in bringing the community together and sharing ideas within the business community. I think we might be able to do just a little bit more, as far as attracting business to the area and really bringing about all that Duvall has to offer.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and then just a little sidestep here. So for people out there that like, they hear the chamber and the Chamber of Commerce, and maybe they've heard these terms, and they're just like, what in the world is the chamber? Because I remember getting asked that a few times, and just being a part of the chamber, I'm just like, you just kind of think, oh, everybody must know what this is. But for somebody that's just like a community member that might not know, what does the chamber actually do? Like, what are maybe some misconceptions, or what does the actual Chamber of Commerce do?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. And now that I reflect on it, I guess it would be interesting for a person who's not familiar with the chamber to hear that term, right? They might think it's a dungeon or something, right? You're part of the
Yeah.
chamber, but that's not it at all. We're all about community, about sharing ideas. The chamber is an opportunity for people in the business community to get together and understand what each other are doing. There's opportunities to partner with one another to help to ensure the success of each other, to help enable each other to have the tools and technology and even the training that they might need to be successful in whatever they're trying to accomplish. So it's really about a sharing of ideas and collaboration. It's also about being in the know of what's happening with the city of Duvall and working with the mayor's office and understanding what's happening with the surrounding communities and how that might impact their business. And so it also gives them an inroad to knowing what's happening outside of just their immediate business.
Right. No, and kind of a follow-up on that. So if we're looking at a business specifically in Duval, what would be like, in your opinion, again, because I know your history a little bit, you've got a background in business and you've done multiple business models actively right now. And so I think you're a great person to ask this, but what do you think separates somebody from like a very successful business to somebody that just feels like, oh my gosh, just always struggling, always chasing that next check and just kind of getting by, because being self-employed is very, very challenging for its many, many reasons, right? Anyone that's been self-employed knows this. So, in your opinion, Bill, what's something obvious, or maybe one or two things that really sets people apart from like thriving versus like just that grind of just getting by all the time?
Sure. Yeah, good question. So I think that it's important to have a vision and to set a plan in place to, it's with some goals, some mile markers, some milestones. Make sure that you've got some actionable targets and some things that are reasonable. Essentially smart goals, and then also be willing to take a chance. One of my favorite sayings is progress always involves risk. You can't steal second base with your foot on first. That's by F. Wilcox. And I think that it's important to be able to take a chance, to be willing to go out and maybe take a little calculated risks, if you will. You don't want to go crazy with taking chances. You don't want to go gambling or something and say, oh, well, here's how we're going to make money. But I think that you shouldn't be afraid to go out and make a big splash, or explore different marketing opportunities and leverage people in the business that maybe are just as smarter than yourself, people that you can rely upon. Building a network, I think, is imperative. You can't go at it alone. Some people think, well, I'm just going to work hard and I'll make this thing happen on my own. And that's not usually the case when it comes to business opportunities. You really have to be able to leverage your business community and make the right hiring decisions. So there's a lot of it depends on the type of business that you're running. But I think that just kind of an overview, it's kind of a thought that I might put out there for up and coming business owners.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's one thing I always saw value in joining the chamber. Like whatever the dollar amount was, it's just like the pros and cons. Like, hey, is this a good use of, call it $260 for the course of the year? I mean, when you said networking, I mean, to me, that just hits home so much, Bill, because really with any business anywhere, I think, again, whether you're a masseuse or a restaurant, any business model, like the networking piece. And I know you and I have talked about this a lot in private. It's crucial, right? It's just you just don't know where that next introduction or that next connection might come from, and it's not just like, oh, I got a client and we served them breakfast and they're gone, but maybe those long term relationships lead to, you know what I mean? Who knows? Like so many cool stories I'm sure you have from just networking over the years, right? So have you always been like a networker? Would you consider yourself a networker, or is that just kind of like second fiddle for you?
No, absolutely. I mean, I think networking is essential. It's imperative to master the art of partnering with people. You can accomplish so much more, no matter what you're doing, if you're willing to partner with the person to make things happen, or convince them or coax them into partnering with you, then it can make a huge difference. It's the whole teamwork idea, right? But no, partnering is imperative. Really, really leveraging those relationships. Information is power, knowledge is power. If you have the ability to network and tap into the knowledge that others have, then it can only help you, can't hurt you.
Yeah, it reminded me of something one of my mentors, Marcus, said us because we would say, "Oh, knowledge is power," and he's like, "No, the application of knowledge is power.
Well
Like you have to
said.
actually go do something about it. You can't just feel it, And that's funny too because like my dad was an entrepreneur his whole life, so I watched him, run a tractor dealership, being self-employed, and then my mom's like the W-2 work, get the safe kind of model, right? And they're totally polar opposite. But it's just like cool to see entrepreneurs like in their space, you know what I mean? Like just going through the motions. Sometimes it's my point was like we're feel like we're busy sometimes, but like are you busy doing the right things, right? Or are you just busy for the sake of being busy and you just feel like, oh gosh, I had this big long day today, but you really didn't do the right things. You just felt like you were doing stuff, but you know what I mean? It's easy to get caught in
It's
that trap.
interesting. Yeah, exactly. It's interesting you should mention doing the right things. That's something else that might be a good topic. It's important that people understand how to prioritize their day and shuffle off the distractions and the minutia. Often we might be working on a task that's imperative and important, and then some salesman comes to the door and they want to talk to you, and it's so easy to stop what we're doing and go do the fun thing or talk to the person
Yeah,
or engage with that
totally.
activity, when really you should be able to say, wait a minute, they need to make an appointment. I really don't have time. I've got something that's of a higher priority at the moment. Let me finish this and then we'll get back to you, that kind of thing. And so I think staying on task, understanding what the priorities are, and in making a list, make a list every morning and figure out what top 3 things do I want to accomplish before the end of the day. See if you can knock them out and master the ability to take the minutia and set that aside until those tasks get accomplished.
Yeah, is that part of your morning routine? Those top 3 things? Is that
I
something
do.
you do or yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
no, I prioritize the list. I have A, B, C, D priorities, and then within those A, B, Cs, I'll put 1, 2, and 3, and then I'll go down the list and knock them off. And there are times I'll have at times I'll have a 2-page list, but by the end of the day, I've usually got it down to about half that, and it's all the A and B priorities are typically off that list.
Well, that's cool. Right on. Okay, so Duval, I learned something the other day about you, and I was like, wow, that kind of caught me off guard. I guess I'd never really asked you, but how long have you lived in Duval, Washington?
We moved here, I think it was '89, and we
Okay.
actually we first moved over to Lake Marcel for a couple years, and then we moved into a new home in Glencairn, so just sort of over near the Safeway area. Not the big brand new homes that you see today,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, no, we've been here a number of years. We raised 2 children here, and now we've got a grandkid. We've got our daughter, Ileana. And so, yeah, we love Duval. I don't think we'll ever leave. It's just an amazing place to live. We love the small town feel, and we love meeting and or seeing neighbors at the grocery store and that sort of things. Yeah, awesome place. We've been here quite a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so somebody that's been in this town, a small town, right? We'll call it 10,000 people just for round numbers, but and it way smaller when you first moved here for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
But for
it
somebody
was
it was like
3,000
out of
times here.
3,000? Yeah,
It's
it's wild.
somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah.
So for somebody that's call it 30 plus years, like what has been your secret sauce to have, carry such a, positive, relationship or a positive, I guess, reputation, right? So
Oh,
if
just
we're talking about like your success, yes, you're the president of the chamber and all those things, but like for 30 years, what was your secret to have such a positive, reputation in town?
Yeah, I think just a willingness to change and a willingness to listen. It's important to let people have airtime if they've got a grievance or something that they need to discuss. It's important to just put down the pencil and listen to what they have to say and really get a deep understanding of where they're coming from. Try to understand their perspective. There's been quite a few changes in Duval, as you pointed out. I mean, not just with the population growth, but when we first moved here, it was a lot of farmer type community folks and some, people just trying to raise their family and get by. And then very soon, we started getting a lot of folks from Microsoft and that sort of thing. And it was interesting to see even the dynamic in the school system where you had some folks were saying, well, some of the mainstays were saying we need smaller classrooms and more teachers. And then the folks from Microsoft were saying, well, actually, we don't need that. We need computers in the classroom and that sort of thing. We need technology. And so it was interesting to see some of those dynamics play out. But I think a willingness to listen and a willingness to be open to change, really and so I think that's helped to create a positive following, if you will.
Okay, that's cool. So now for the new person, right? Because you talked about the top about bringing people in and having Duval be more of a like a destination for people even locally in Seattle, like anywhere in the state of Washington, right? I think Duval is really fun to spend a day. So if you were giving advice to a new person, maybe they've just moved to Duval yesterday, what would be the one thing that you would say, hey, this is going to be really helpful for you to know, Mr. Mrs. Citizen that just moved here?
Yeah, I think I'd refer them to the Chamber magazine. Also, encourage them to meet their neighbors. I think so many people in Seattle area don't take the time to meet their neighbors. They'll live in the same house for 10 years and never really get to know their neighbors, never invite them over for a coffee and that sort of thing. And I think Duval's a little different in that way. I think people are a little bit more willing to open their doors and talk to each other and, share stories, maybe do a barbecue together. And so the first thing I would do is encourage people to get out and meet their neighbors, maybe just introduce themselves. And then after that or beyond that, I would say really explore the community, explore the parks, check out the depot, check out some of the community events, participate in the Duvall Days activities and some of the fun stuff that occurs in Duvall, the summer night stage stuff, the sandblast, and all the other cool things that Duvall
Yeah.
has to offer. So I think that I would encourage them to get out and really explore what their community is about. I talked to someone the other day that had been living in Duvall for about 5 years and had never been down to the river park. They just didn't know it was there. And so I would encourage people to explore things like that, or go check out Lake Rasmussen and just
Right.
all the stuff around the area.
Yeah. Well, and that's funny. A nice little teaser, livinginduval.com, right? So the new website that we just rolled out this last year is just kind of for that too, is just, just having one place where it's like, hey, what do you do here? Like, what are the restaurants, the schools, the food? I know the chamber has a great site. The city has tons of information on their site too. So there are definitely resources where people can find that. And they're all different, right? Like chamber, a little more business focused, cities, the government focused with the things they need to have on there. And then livinginduval.com is just kind of like, I just call it the everyday person's, website for information. So one
Absolutely.
question. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
What's
Go
that,
ahead.
Bill?
No,
No,
I
you
said
go ahead, man.
sorry. Absolutely. Yeah. I think, some of the stuff that you do, Buddy Buck, is amazing with Duvall TV and Duvall.com and your participation and some of the stuff that Maureen Henley does. And it's just really great that we've got some of those resources out there available to folks. And I would hope that people would take advantage of some of that.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so like a legacy question here. So 10 years from now, right? People are talking, which they'll do 10, 100 years from now, right? But 10 years from now, your name comes up. So what is that? What is something that you want to be on those people's tongues? Like, what do you want people to say about Bill Foreman 10 years from now, 20 years from now?
A good question. I want him to say, boy, he sure is still good looking. No, I'm kidding.
No, you're not. Come on, man. You'll be good looking in 10 years too. You already know it.
No, no, I think 10 years from now, I'd like to say, wow, Bill and his team, his core team at the chamber was able to make a pretty impressive splash. They made a real positive difference for the city of Duvall, and I like what has happened, and hopefully that trend continues. So I would hope that the conversation would go somewhere along those lines.
Cool, right on. Okay, so we mentioned we were talking a little bit about Duvall TV. So that would be, for those that don't know, my YouTube channel that kind of highlights events, community fun, all the cool stuff in town. But if you could wave a magic wand, so for Duvall TV or Living in Duvall, Bill, what would be something that we could add to Duvall TV to even level it up or make it better experience for you? Is there
I
anything?
think not for me personally, but maybe for the kid community, maybe have a little bit of an aspect in there that's is something that kids could jump into and say, "Oh, this is kind of cool in here," and so hook them young, if you will.
Yeah,
Kind of engage that younger audience. Maybe just something that community events for teenagers or gathering spots or the summer stage stuff or things that might appeal to some of that younger audience might be kind of cool.
yeah.
So
No, super helpful.
not just for
Yeah,
the old business community. Sure.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's like, so 2 months ago we did a holiday episode where we gave away a bunch of, like, people from town donated a lot of great prizes. You guys were one of them. Well, I say you guys. Corey's Cafe gave a couple gift cards, which Corey's just been fantastic, and I can't wait to have her on the show as well. But yeah, with the younger, we had Faith. So one of the kids from the Extapa ownership, so Megan and Ramon, their
Mhm.
11-year-old daughter Faith was like kind of co-hosted with me, and to your point, like, it was awesome. It was just fun for me. It was just like a breath of fresh air to have some youth and some kids and doing that. Is She had a passion for it. She's like not afraid to be on camera, which is not totally normal, I guess, for the average person. But yeah, Faith totally knocked it out of the park. And so, great point on getting a little bit younger. You never
Nice.
know.
Yeah.
Never know.
No,
Get them
that's great.
started.
Yeah, keep up that kind of stuff. That's great. Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and we'll kind of put a bow on this. So I got a couple rapid fire, a little hot seat for Bill Foreman, the president of the Duvall Chamber of Commerce.
Sure.
So I'm going to just say two things, and you just pick one. Okay, so it's either
Okay.
or. All
Okay.
right, so coffee or beer?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I love them both. I'll do coffee. Yeah.
Coffee. Okay, cool. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset for sure. Yeah, I think this guy here at Sunset.
Sunset? Okay, cool. Tacos or pizza?
Tacos.
All right. Mountains or the river? Okay, wait, did you have something to say about tacos or pizza? Go you had a
No,
little
I think that you get can't it's hard to beat a good taco. When I think of tacos, I think of maybe a margarita and some other stuff along with it. So
there you go. So you already got your coffee, so now you're sneaking a margarita in.
yeah,
I
I'm
like
sneaking it in there.
I see what you did there. All right, last couple here. So early bird or night owl? Who are you?
Ooh, I'm a little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
I don't get a lot of sleep. I'm kind of one of those sleep
Okay.
when you're dead guys. But I think I guess maybe more of a night owl.
Okay, cool. Text or phone call?
Phone call. Uh, text messaging is popular. I text a fair amount, but when you get a banter where text is going back and forth too much, at some point you just pick up the phone, pretend it's the 80s and just talk
Right.
to each other.
Dependence yeah, pretend it's
Yeah,
the '80s
right,
with
right.
your water bed and your pencil. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I got that one, the pencil one. He was like, "What's a pencil?" It's like, just no, it's a number 2 pencil. Just Google it,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right.
Okay, last one, dogs or cats?
It's interesting. I had both, and when my son went off to college, he took the dogs, and when my daughter went off to college, she took the cat. So now I'm left with feeding the squirrels, which is kind of interesting.
Well, hey, Bill, thanks a lot for coming on, man. Appreciate you so much, and good luck this year with being the president of the Duvall Chamber of Commerce. So
Thank
congrats
you so
again.
much.